We spend so much of our lives trying to be the person we think other people want us to be. It's the most exhausting performance in the world, and the applause is never loud enough to make it feel worth it. Most people will keep performing forever, ignoring this feeling. But 99% of what you're looking for isn't out there. It's in here. The final chapter explains the science of how this shift makes everything else fall into place effortlessly. Don't miss it. Validation trap. There is a deep biological reason why focusing on ourselves feels so counterintuitive, and it's rooted in our primal survival instincts. For our ancestors, being accepted by the tribe was a matter of life and death. Social approval meant access to resources, protection, and a chance to pass on your genes. Rejection meant being cast out, alone, and vulnerable. Our brains evolved an incredibly sensitive system to track social cues and seek approval, a system that is still running the show today. Every time you get a like on a photo, a compliment from your boss, or a nod of agreement in a conversation, your brain releases a tiny burst of dopamine. It's the same neurochemical involved in pleasure and reward. In a very real sense, we are chemically wired to crave external validation. The modern world has hijacked this ancient system and put it into overdrive, creating what I call the validation trap. This trap is the constant low-level hum of anxiety that comes from outsourcing your self-worth. It's the feeling of checking your phone immediately after you post something. It's replaying a conversation in your head, wondering if you said the right thing. It's saying yes to a social event you're dreading because you're afraid of missing out or disappointing someone. You're essentially living your life based on a script written by a committee of everyone you've ever met, and you're constantly looking to them for your next line. This is not just mentally and emotionally exhausting. It's a profound drain on your most valuable resource, your energy. When all of your focus is directed outward, seeking cues and approval, you have very little left for your own goals, your own well-being, and your own inner voice. You become a reflection of what you think the world wants, rather than an expression of who you truly are. Escaping this trap begins with a simple, powerful act of awareness. I want you to conduct a personal energy audit for 1 week. This isn't about judgment, it's about data collection. Get a small notebook or use an app on your phone, and at the end of each day, I want you to write down 2 things. One moment where you felt genuinely energized, and one moment where you felt significantly drained. Be specific. Maybe you felt energized after spending an hour lost in a creative project, or after a deep, uninterrupted conversation with a friend. Maybe you felt drained after a 30-minute meeting filled with small talk, or after agreeing to a favor you didn't have the bandwidth for. The key is to be brutally honest with yourself. We often tell ourselves stories about what should energize us, but this exercise is about what actually does. After a week, you will have a fascinating map of your own energetic landscape. You will start to see clear patterns. You'll see that the activities that truly fuel you are often the ones you do for yourself, while the ones that drain you are frequently tied to seeking external validation or performing for others. This data is your starting point. It's the first clue in the treasure hunt for your authentic self. The validation trap thrives in ambiguity, when you're not conscious of how you're spending your energy. By simply observing and naming these patterns, you begin to loosen its grip. You're not trying to change anything just yet. You are simply turning the lights on in a room you've been navigating in the dark for years. This awareness is the first, most critical step in redirecting your focus back to where it belongs, on yourself. Internal calibration. Once you've identified the sources of your energy drains and gains, the next step is to move from passive observation to active calibration. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument. For years, you've been trying to tune your instrument to match the sound of every other instrument in the orchestra. The result is a constant, dissonant state of being slightly out of tune with yourself. Internal calibration is the process of finding your own unique, perfect pitch, a set of core values and principles that are authentically yours. This isn't about creating a list of generic, positive words like honesty or kindness. It's about defining what those values look like in action for you. This becomes your internal guidance system, your true north that helps you navigate every decision with clarity and confidence. The science behind this is incredibly compelling. The psychological term for the stress and discomfort we feel when our actions are not aligned with our beliefs is cognitive dissonance. It's a powerful source of anxiety and self-sabotage. When you say yes to a project that violates your value of work-life balance, or when you stay silent when your value of integrity is being challenged, you create this internal friction. It's like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. You burn an immense amount of energy and you don't get very far. The process of internal calibration is about systematically reducing that friction. By defining your values and starting to live in alignment with them, you create a state of internal coherence. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions start to move in the same direction, creating a powerful forward momentum in your life. Here is a simple framework to begin this calibration. I call it the value filter. First, identify your top 3 to 5 core values. Don't just pick them from a list. Look back at your energy audit. What were you doing in the moments you felt most alive and authentic? If it was deep connection, maybe one of your values is depth. If it was creative problem solving, maybe it's ingenuity. If it was quiet time in nature, maybe it's peace. Get specific and personal. Once you have your core values, they become your new decision-making filter. Before you commit to anything, a job offer, a social plan, a new project, you run it through the filter by asking a simple question. Does this align with my core value of insert your value here? This changes everything. Decisions that used to be agonizing become remarkably simple. Should you take on that extra work that will pay well but require you to work every weekend? If your core value is family or well-being, the answer becomes a clear no. Should you join that committee that seems prestigious but involves a lot of political maneuvering? If your core value is authenticity, it's an easy pass. This isn't about being rigid, it's about being intentional. The value filter removes the emotional weight of people-pleasing from your decisions. You are no longer asking, what will they think of me if I say no? Instead, you are asking, is this true to who I am? This shift is monumental. It's the moment you stop asking the world for a map and you start trusting your own internal compass. Energetic boundaries. As you begin to operate from your newly calibrated internal compass, you will naturally start to encounter situations where your needs and values conflict with the expectations of others. This is where the third crucial piece comes into play, setting energetic boundaries. For many of us, the word boundaries can feel harsh or confrontational. We picture building walls or pushing people away, but I want you to reframe this. A boundary is not a wall, it's a gate. It's a conscious, loving way of managing your own energy and teaching people how to interact with you respectfully. When you focus on yourself, setting boundaries is no longer a scary act of defiance, but a simple, logical act of self-preservation. It's the natural expression of your self-worth. The fascinating thing about boundaries is that they are communicated far more through our nonverbal cues and our energy than through our words. When you are riddled with guilt and anxiety about saying no, your body language betrays you. Your voice might get higher, you might avoid eye contact, or you might rush to over-explain and justify your decision. These are all subconscious signals that your boundary is weak and negotiable. People pick up on this, and they will consciously or unconsciously continue to push. This is why so many of our attempts to set boundaries fail. We are saying no with our words, but our entire being is screaming, please don't be mad at me, I'm open to changing my mind. True energetic boundaries are about aligning your words, your body language, and your internal state. Here is an actionable technique for setting clean, effective boundaries. I call it the calm and clear method. The goal is to deliver your boundary with warmth and firmness, without apology or over-explanation. Let's say a colleague asks you to take on a task that isn't your responsibility and you don't have the capacity for it. The old you might have said yes resentfully or stumbled through a long excuse. The new you uses the calm and clear method. You take a breath, make warm eye contact, and say something simple and direct like, thanks for asking, but my plate is full right now and I can't give that the attention it deserves. And then, the most important part, you hold the silence. You don't fill the space with apologies. The silence communicates confidence in your decision. It's not cold, it's clear. It respects you and it respects them by not wasting their time with a long, convoluted story. Practicing this will feel uncomfortable at first because you are literally reprogramming a lifetime of people-pleasing behavior. But with each successful boundary you set, you build self-trust. You are teaching your nervous system that it is safe to prioritize your own needs. And a remarkable thing happens. People start to treat you differently. The people who are accustomed to taking advantage of your porous boundaries will either adapt or they will fade away because you are no longer a match for that dynamic. And the people who are healthy and self-respecting themselves will be drawn to you. They will admire and appreciate your clarity. They will feel safe with you because they know where you stand. Setting energetic boundaries doesn't push the right people away. It draws them closer and creates the space for healthier, more authentic relationships to flourish. The ripple effect. This is the part of the journey where the magic seems to happen. It's the phase where you stop striving and things just start flowing. When you have done the deep internal work of escaping the validation trap, calibrating your internal compass, and setting clear energetic boundaries, you fundamentally change your energetic signature. You are no longer broadcasting a signal of neediness, anxiety, and a desperate desire to please. Instead, you radiate a quiet, centered confidence. This creates a powerful phenomenon known as the ripple effect, where your internal state begins to positively and effortlessly influence your external world. This is the science behind watching everything fall into place. At the core of this effect is a principle called emotional contagion. Our emotional states are not self-contained, they are infectious. We are constantly, subconsciously reading the micro-expressions, body language, and tone of voice of the people around us, and our nervous systems are attuning to theirs. When you are around someone who is anxious and frantic, you start to feel a little on edge yourself. Conversely, when you are in the presence of someone who is calm, grounded, and self-possessed, their regulated nervous system has a co-regulating effect on yours. You feel calmer and safer in their presence. By focusing on yourself and cultivating your own inner peace, you become that person for others. You become a walking, talking oasis of calm in a chaotic world, and people are deeply magnetically drawn to that feeling. This magnetic quality completely transforms your social and professional life. In your relationships, you stop chasing connection and you start attracting it. Because you are no longer operating from a place of needing approval, you can engage with people from a place of genuine curiosity and presence. You listen more than you speak. You are not trying to impress anyone, and this lack of agenda is incredibly charismatic. The right people, those who value authenticity and depth, will gravitate towards you. The connections you form are no longer based on a transactional need for validation, but on a mutual respect and genuine resonance. The quantity of your friendships might even decrease, but the quality will skyrocket. You will find yourself surrounded by people who see you, support you, and energize you. Professionally, the ripple effect is just as powerful. In any workplace, there are two types of currency: the currency of loud effort and the currency of quiet competence. People-pleasing and overworking come from the first category. It's a frantic attempt to prove your worth, but true influence comes from the second. When you are internally calibrated, you focus on doing high-quality work that aligns with your values. You communicate your ideas with thoughtful confidence, not desperate volume. You set boundaries around your time and energy, which signals that you value your own contribution. This combination of high-quality output and self-respect is what leaders and colleagues notice. Opportunities start to come to you. You are invited to the important meetings not because you fought for a seat, but because your presence has become essential. You are not forcing things to happen. You are simply being the kind of person to whom great things naturally happen. This entire journey is a shift from force to flow. When you focus on yourself, you are not being selfish. You are taking radical responsibility for your own energy. This is the most generous thing you can do for the world because it allows you to show up as the most grounded, authentic, and effective version of yourself. You stop trying to control the world outside of you and you master the world inside of you. And in doing so, you discover the profound truth that the external world was always just a reflection of your internal state. By changing yourself, you change everything.